What is going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. And today I wanted to talk about something that my coworker down in Georgia, Triple R Truck Talks, is his YouTube channel. Go check him out. He does a lot of great, solid content. Again, he works for Gemini down in Georgia, but he was talking about having to do pump offs at his first fuel hauling company, or the one previous, and that really got me thinking about when I had to do pump offs at my very first company that I started out with in fuel hauling before Pilot, before Gemini. I haven't done pump offs here at Gemini or Pilot for that matter. Doesn't mean we don't do it, but not in my area anyways. And there was one time in particular that really stuck out to me. I had gone down to Denver, loaded some red dye, and I was bringing it up to northern Colorado for a construction company. And so I got to the place that I was supposed to deliver, and there was a problem. The tank that I was supposed to deliver the red dye diesel into, I couldn't stick it. There was no way that it was up on a platform, and I couldn't stick it, meaning measure how much diesel was already in there or wasn't in there. There wasn't a hole for me to stick anything into. There also was not, more critically, a meter that I could read to tell how much was in the tank. So typically when you're delivering to an above ground tank, there's going to be some sort of meter on the tank that shows what the level or how much fuel is in the tank currently. So, or if there's not, then you should be able to stick it. But again, I couldn't stick it. It was up too high. I didn't have anything to climb with. There might have been a hole, but again, the situation was that I couldn't stick it for whatever reason. And generally as a fail-safe, you can try and tap the tank on the side of the tank, and the sound that it makes, it'll have a hollow sound. It'll reverberate quite a bit if it's empty. But because the tank was painted and then coated on top of the paint, it was really hard to tell, especially with me being new to the industry, if it was actually full or not. And so because I couldn't tell if it was full or not, I called up my dispatcher and I said, hey, I can't deliver this load of fuel because I cannot tell if this tank is full or not. And ultimately, if I start unloading and it overflows and creates a huge mess of red dye diesel everywhere, it's on me. You know, that's on me. So I'm not going to deliver this because I have no way of sticking the tank. I have no way of measuring the tank because there's no meter on it. So, and I can't even climb on top of the tank. It's too high up and there's no ladder or anything like that. And I don't have anything to climb with. So then he immediately calls my boss, who then calls me up and asks, well, are you sure there's no meter? Are you sure there's no way to stick it? And I said, correct, there's no way to stick it and there's no meter on it. So I'm not delivering it because, again, it's on me if I make a mess. And so he hangs up, he calls the company that I was delivering to as far as his contact with them. And so he calls me back and he says, well, I just got in contact with them and they assured me it is completely empty and you're good to unload it. And I said, well, I'm really not, because there's no one here. It's after hours. And if, again, I make a mess, there's no one to back me up, and I'm, again, on the hook for this. So unless you want to come out here and do it yourself, or if somebody from the company wants to come out and vouch that it's actually empty and vouch that they're going to handle the mess if I make a mess because I can't confirm that it's empty, then okay, fine, I'll unload. And so my boss said, all right, fine, give me a few seconds. And he hangs up, he calls them back, and then he calls me back and he says, well, they're gonna have somebody come out and make sure it's empty, or at least vouch that it's empty. And if it is not empty and you end up overflowing, it's on them, it's not on you. And I said, I have your word on that. And he said, yep, and if it's overflowing, it's not on you, it's on them. My word is my honor. And I said, okay. So I wait a bit and somebody shows up and they watch as I unload, and it goes smoothly. It turns out it wasn't a full tank at all, and I just didn't have any way of confirming that. But again, had I just gone through that and I said, you know what, I don't have time for this, because it was already a long day. That was already, you know, hour 11 or 12 for me. So I was already running out of time as it was. And so I could have said, screw it. You know, I'm just going to unload it and hope it's not full. But because I didn't do that, and because I had somebody else vouch for me if there was a mess, I avoided a huge headache if it didn't happen to be empty. So, point being, if you are going to work in fuel, or any industry for that matter, it doesn't matter, but specifically within hazmat, specifically within fuel, do not stick your neck out for a company if you are not 100% sure of what you're doing. If you're not sure of, you know, what tank to drop in, where you are, if the tank is full or not, don't do it. Stop, call them, make it somebody else's problem, and make them involved in the problem if you can't, you know, have somebody else do it completely. Because again, in that situation, if I hadn't called anybody and I did make a mess, then it actually would have been on me, and then I probably would have lost my job. Not to mention that company would have probably lost that customer. I might have gotten a fine for spilling hazmat, you know, whatever the case may be. Because at the end of the day, if I lost my job, then I am out of money and I don't have a way to provide for my family. And that's a lot worse for me versus just taking the time to actually verify if it's actually full or not, or verify whatever I'm doing, and then have somebody else get involved to make sure that it is in fact the right product at the right place at the right time. With all of that being said, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And I hope you guys are doing well. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. God bless.